The Roman Empire is said to have fallen in 476 AD. But this is a great misconception. While Caesar's legions were gone, the spirit of Rome, the Mediterranean trade, lived on. Silks from Syria, papyri from Egypt, and grain from North Africa still reached the ports of Marseille. Europe was still Mediterranean, however. In the 7th century, a storm from the depths of the desert would shatter this unity forever. Today, we will discuss how Europe became an island and how the real cause of the darkness of the Middle Ages was not barbarians, but the closure of sea routes. At the beginning of the 7th century, as the Byzantine and Sasanian empires were consuming each other, the greatest geopolitical upheaval in history occurred. Islamic armies were not only spreading a religion, but also seizing the Levant and Maghreb, the economic heart of the ancient world. The fall of Alexandria, 642, and the conquest of Carthage severed Rome's thousand-year-old logistical network. The Mediterranean was no longer a Roman lake, but a battlefield where two great civilizations clashed. The bridges between East and West had been blown up. The renowned historian Henri Pirenne puts forward this shocking claim: it wasn't the Germanic tribes that destroyed Rome, but the Islamic conquests that closed off the Mediterranean. Why? Because when trade stops, cities die. Let's look at the turning points. 1. The cutting off of papyrus. When papyrus stopped coming from Egypt, bureaucracy in Europe came to a standstill. Literacy became only in the hands of the church, which could afford expensive parchment. 2. The disappearance of gold. When trade with the East ceased, the minting of gold coins ended. Europe regressed to the silver standard and a barter economy. 3. The end of luxury. When spices and silk ran out, the nobility withdrew from the cities and retreated to their castles in the countryside. With the sea routes closed, Europe became an island. Isolated from the outside world, inward-looking, an entirely agricultural society. Feudalism arose from this desperation. Where there is no trade, there is no money, and where there is no money, power shifts to land and brute force. Center shift. The center of Europe shifted from the warm coasts of Rome and Athens to the misty forests of the north, such as Aachen and Paris. Charlemagne's becoming Holy Roman Emperor was, in fact, a search for a new identity for Europe, which had broken away from the Mediterranean. The closure of the Mediterranean plunged Europe into a hibernation of several centuries. However, this isolation also formed the core of a unique Western civilization. Losing the sea, Europe clung to its land. Remember, what destroys a civilization is not invading armies, but the severing of the arteries that connect it to the world. In the next chapter, we will move on to our 6th topic, the world of knights and castles that rose from this darkness. Stay with Grim Chronicle, search for the truth in the shadow of history.